So, as you can see, since the last video, I've been a little bit busy off camera. I've made things a little bit more symmetrical in the boot. So let me talk you through this. So yes, we have symmetry in the boot at long last. It's been bugging me for so long that the sub had everything enclosed on that side. And this side was left factory and kind of open and contoured to the wheel well. And I wanted to close this in. But I want to make use of the space as well. So I've created this hidden panel on the front here, which looking at the camera, it looks a lot more obvious than what it is in real life. The carpet matches nicely because it is actually the same carpet, and I even went to the bother of laying it in the same orientation. However, I didn't want any holes or finger holes or any of this, so I mounted these little tabs. So what we did was pretty much the same process as the sub box. It's why I did it off camera and didn't want to bore you guys. But fiberglass shell on the back, MDF on the front, bonded it all together. I even went to the bother of getting this nice tight gap along the top, and as we've seen in the previous ones, we had this coming along here which turns at the angle, so even though it doesn't look like it, it has this little change and transition here. Once it's trimmed up, let's say we made the door, and I got these little canvas tabs, made them into straps, ironed them flat so it's at a nice fine point, and this gives us the pull tabs to pull this out. So we want access to it, we pull our little tabs, and here we go. Inside, trimmed in like a contrast and light grey material, just for ease of actually being able to see into this. And although you can't see it, up in here, roughly about here, there's a cut-off panel, so nothing gets lost in this little weird gap up here. So everything is nice and presentable when you open it. The other thing I went, and I will do this in the sub box side as well, is I drilled a hole in the back of it, reinforced it with a washer and some fiberglass, and I mounted a riv nut inside, so there's like a tab of metal in behind this. It comes off the wheel arch. It's all enclosed internally, so no risk of rust. I mounted a riv nut into it, and it's secure, so like it won't rattle, it won't move around the boot, and that's exactly what I want. So the point of this is, with air ride, I always like to carry a few spare tools, some spare line, little cutter, a few like inline push connectors and things like that. So this will all go in here. Maybe a can of tire weld, because obviously we don't run a spare in this car either, because nothing fits over the brakes anyway. However, that's my own doing. The other thing I did with this was, here you can see this little like magnetic panel. These are actually like kitchen magnetic latches, and I drew up and 3D printed these little tabs. However, when I actually went to fit it, I did fit this one. The door is quite a tight fit with the carpet, which I did want for that sort of smooth transition, but it also is sitting a lot more firm than I want. So I'm not going to mount the other ones for now, because I actually want to make it easy to remove. However, if the carpet compresses over time or wears with it in and out, I have the other one of this. I can screw it onto the top, and then it's a nice little click into place, but to be honest with you, it doesn't need it. So that's that done. We're going to jump back onto the center box, which has the valve block and the compressor into it, and we'll go from there. We have a few things to do before we can actually get on with doing what I'm really excited about doing, which we'll talk about towards the end of the video. So let's make a start on those. So we're back to the bench, and the more this project is on, the heavier this gets. So you'll probably see me struggle a little bit now and again. So I feel like I'm always at this bench, but it's the easiest way to show you guys and for me to stand at a comfortable height and do this. So we're going to do a little bit of recycling. So we made the Hardlines before, as we've seen last episode, one before, last one. And we had some offcuts. We need to add, well, is the input lines for the valve block here, and I want them running straight out, nice and symmetrical as always, because it's what keeps us happy. And I have some offcuts from that, so where have I put them? Who knows? Here we go. Yes, so first thing we need to do though is drill a hole in the side of the box, mount our bulkheads, and then pop these through. So I've measured this up where it needs to be, drill a little pilot hole, and take our 22mm spade bit, and hope that that's enough, because I think these are 22.2, but we'll work it out. So just bore a hole through this, try not to wreck anything, and then we can get going. I'll dip you through the carpet. Like that. Just enough that we don't want to destroy all around us. Hope this last bit out with the screw. The other thing is I don't want to push the MDF sawdust or remnants down in behind the carpet and have a big lump either. Hence why I'm being awkward and trying to pull this back through. There we go. Lovely. And with the whole trim back now with this little backed blade, which is pretty awkward, take our fitting and hopefully this will slide in. So yeah, that's tight enough, but it'll go. In fact, we'll go the way we're supposed to go. From the outside in. Yep. Thread are not on. And with the carpet trimmed back roughly, I'll take this hot bit of pipe, which I've heated up over the, just on the cooker. And we're going to seal back these rough edges, so hopefully this doesn't burst into flames. Looks to be successful. So that'll mean nothing catches when it's going in and out, and you don't get fraying edges over time. So three things like that can annoy you, so you may as well take your time to do them right. I'm not going to touch that because that'll make for a good video and a bad day for me. Take our fitting, pop it through, perfect fit, that's good. Doesn't catch now with the carpet all sealed up. And now we take our measurement, cut this to size, and we'll have one side done. So got this cut to length. It was 93mm, not that it'll matter because yours will be different if you're ever attempting this, and even this is going to be different side to side. So we have it cut, reamed it out as we said before, stops it cutting up the seal inside the fittings. Remember to slide this over as per the last time, and we can pop this into the fitting. It's kind of awkward to do because of the size of it. Take our actual fitting, pop it home, do the nut up nice and snug, and there we go. It's looking good. So I debated what to do with these, whether it come out at mad angles or anything, but I thought with doing these, I would just keep these pretty straight and keep it simple. Don't really like anything overly complicated, so I'm going to do the other side off camera, and once we're done, we're going to get into a little bit of 3D printing and make some little custom brackets and things like that, so we'll see you then. And just like that, it's done, both sides. This side's in, just straight. Remember, this will be framed, that this will be symmetrical, so it'll look good from above. Next thing then, we have my air ride controller, as I explained, I think in the first video, is a Dutch company that doesn't exist anymore called Control. So this is the controller for the air ride, not the bit you use with your hand, but the brains behind the system. So I got in really early with these guys. It was like kit 173. So this was like a prototype kit, hence why I think later they went to like a 3D printed case, which I could do, but I don't mind the aluminium because it's a little bit more robust. So hence why it looks like this. And it just basically lasered control into it. I want to mount this, and I will confess, in the last one, it was held down with an old cut down number plate. So let's rejig the cameras and see how we're going to do this one. So like I say, we need somewhere to mount our control box, and this is where this comes in. So believe it or not, this is not just some random piece that I left cut short. There was always a reason for this. I'm sure many won't believe that, but there genuinely was. So I'm new to 3D printing. I've done a little bit of this, obviously, and while I am an engineer, design engineer is not my trade, and this is all very new to me. So one night I couldn't be bothered coming out here, as things happen as you do, and I opened the laptop and I says, right, free version of 360, Fusion 360, I'm going to give this a go. So I come up with these. So, I mean, just use the calipers, and my thing was I wanted the same part either end so I can always reprint this if it breaks, and it needed to clear the wiring at this end. So the plan is for this to screw down here, the other one to screw down here, and this to drop in like so. Nice, neat, tidy, does the job. So the other thing we want to take into consideration is if we want to remove this, we don't want to interfere with that either. So I think we'll keep that roughly there. We'll screw the first one down. I've already moved it, but as I say, it's only roughly. So these are printed in ASS. They should be fine to take both a bit of heat and a bit of abuse. Not that they'll actually get any abuse, to be honest with you, but it's always nice, a little bit of overkill. Take the box again, drop it in, snug that up, try and get this back out without moving it again. You can leave a little bit of play in it. Drop the screw in, take that down so you can actually see what I'm doing. The joys of YouTube. I'll send that home. Let's test fit again. Nice and snug. Our wiring then can run around the back. Everything's hidden. This clears, which is nice. This monstrosity will get, once again, a 3D printed surround to just tidy it up. I did have to hack that, as we learned in the last episode, so we'll print like a little frame for that just to tidy that. But while this is snug, I don't trust it. You hit bumps, you have an accident, you know, things get moved around. I don't trust that not to stay in there. So for a little bit of belt and braces, I did try and come up with some elaborate kind of like bracket or hinge lock or anything. And then sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. I printed this, which, as you can see, will sit here. And then I got the strap off Amazon, which will slide up in over. It'll stick to that apparently, and Velcro down nice and tight. So let's just mount this. And it's tied to this bracket where it wants to be, so that can't move, so it has to go where it goes. Nice. We take our Velcro, knockoff Velcro, whatever you want to call it, trying to get stuck to everything. And we're going to have to work out roughly how much this we need. So I think I took a measurement before. We're going to cut a 400mm length of this. It's kind of awkward to do. I'm trying not to get it on anything. Oh my god, what's wrong with my hands? Thankfully, we don't need to be accurate with this. I did add a little bit onto this, and you'll see why in a second. So I think this was like £7 for 5 meters on Amazon. So it does come with this little bracket, and what this does is it lets it fold over itself, and that's your loop for securing it. So we want that on the outside. So we'll take this out again. Hopefully you can see what the hell I'm doing. Feed this under the strap. Turn that up. Pop this back in. And then we take this back out. Take that out. Turn it over, because that would be the correct way to do it. And we put this back in once again. I'm brain dead today. Take this through the strap, and we can just tension it down. So there we go, nice and secure. I am going to put a little bit of foam under these so I can sort of squish it down as I pull it, but I mean, that's not going to go anywhere. It's certainly more secure than holding it with a screw down number plate. And now that I look at this, I'm going to round these corners because that's really bugging me. So yeah, next time you see that, that's going to look a lot neater. But yeah, pretty happy with that. I mean, besides buying a 3D printer, I think I have £7 in this, like seven. So for that bit of Velcro, and I have 5 meters of it. So I mean, I could mass produce these things if I really wanted to. But yeah, as much as we all hate Jeff Bezos, Amazon comes in handy for that kind of thing. So I think that'll do us for this one. I will give you a little tour around this just to see how we get on today, and this all leads us up to the next big thing, which I'm really, really looking forward to do because I've never done it before, and it could go horribly wrong, but I don't think it will. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll leave it there. So let's have a little recap of what we've done so far today. Center box coming on well. We have our hardlines mounted for the inlet on the manifold, and that'll be a straight shot out of tested and 90 fitting over to where the new tank will be, so that'll be nice. We have our air ride control unit mounted up nice and secure, so that's good to have sorted. Still have to sort the compressor out, but that'll come next when we tear this down after the next video. And we have our super secret, not so secret, storage compartment. And as I said, the real reason for this is, yes, a little bit of storage, but it makes things nice and symmetrical from left to right, as we can see. So I think we've done well there. As always, folks, thank you very much for checking this out. If you like it, leave a comment or do whatever you need to do. Or if you spot something I'm doing wrong, don't be afraid to say it because things happen. But until the next one, I'll catch you again, folks. Bye.